They had all but perfected peaceful protest. And this is the escalation we get immediately afterwards. It's almost like it was orchestrated. Shout out to all the subscribers and the members here on the channel. Don't forget to like the video. My name is Reese Waters, and I'm troubled.
At approximately 9:03 a.m. this morning, Minneapolis police received a report of a shooting involving federal law enforcement in the area of East 26th Street and Nicollet Avenue on the south side of the city. Officers arrived and found an adult male with multiple gunshot wounds when they arrived. Life-saving aid was being rendered, and he was transported by ambulance to Hennepin County Medical Center, where he was later pronounced deceased. Based on the information that we have, which is very limited, this is a 37-year-old white male who is a Minneapolis resident, and we believe he is an American citizen. We have not been told any official reports of what has led up to the shooting.
Federal agents shoot and kill man in Minnesota. Federal immigration agents shot and killed a 37-year-old Minneapolis man Saturday. He was identified by family as Alex Jeffrey Pretti, an intensive care nurse. The shooting, captured on video posted to Facebook and verified by NBC News, was followed by a heated confrontation between agents and protesters who opposed the federal government's immigration enforcement tactics. In the video, agents are seen wrestling a man to the ground. A second cell phone video appears to show the moments leading up to the shooting. Several people are seen in the street filming immigration officers when an agent appears to shove someone to the ground. An agent appears to spray another man in the face before dragging him to the ground. Several officers surround the man when a series of shots are fired. The Department of Homeland Security said on social media that the officers were conducting an operation when they were approached by an armed Minneapolis resident. The department said the man was shot after violently resisting efforts to disarm him, but no evidence was provided to back up this account. However, there is significant evidence to dispute this account. Update: ICE had fully seized the victim's gun before the shooting. You can see the agent in the light green jacket pull the gun from the victim and walk away, and then ICE proceeded to offload multiple rounds into him. That's right. That statement went out irregardless of the fact that there were multiple onlookers with video. It's almost like Kristi Noem has a credibility problem or something. So 6 ICE officers struggled to keep one man down, got frustrated, and shot him multiple times. Again, if you emasculate these guys, they shoot you. Ah, that's right. Where have we seen that before? Oh, we just did with Renee Good. And you can feel free to dispute the characterizations of the kinds of personalities that are allowed on the force, but then you would have to grapple with reports like the one Laura Jadid did about getting hired despite no background check, doing none of the paperwork, and failing the drug test. Because y'all ignored all of that. What's that, 47 days of training?
This is the most despicable administration in fucking human history. J.D. Vance decided to go ahead and double down on the ICE assaulting and this woman, orphaning a 6-year-old child. He says, I want every ICE officer to know that their president, vice president, and the entire administration stands behind them. To the radicals assaulting them, doxing them, threatening them, congratulations, we're going to work even harder to enforce the law. What the fuck does that mean? I just learned today that ICE officers only get 47 days of training. Do you know why they get 47 days of training? It's not because that's the optimum amount of training time. It's because that is the number President Donald Trump is right now. What fucking sense does that fucking make? See, this is what I'm saying. The lack of accountability, the just abundance of incompetence.
Just saw a video of more than 6 masked agents pummeling one of our constituents and shooting him to death. How many more residents, how many more Americans need to die or get badly hurt for this operation to end? How many more lives need to be lost before this administration realizes that a political and partisan narrative is not as important as American values? How many times must local and national leaders must plead with you, Donald Trump, to end this operation and recognize that this is not creating safety in our city?
Now let's talk about the timing. 5 dudes on one guy and they shoot him 5 times. We were too peaceful yesterday, and now they need another attempt to create chaos for the insurrection. This is the law enforcement you're standing for? Ah, that is correct. I literally had just put out content about the organization of the protest movement in Minneapolis had reached a level of what? An economic blackout?
So Friday, January 23rd, we're asking everybody to pause, to stop, to rest, to reflect, and to fast and pray and come collectively together to not spend any money. Every Minnesotan, no work, no school, no shopping, so that we can send a message to not just Minnesota, but to this nation. We want ICE out of here, and that there should be no investment in a militaristic force like ICE that comes in and terrorizes and oppresses the people in this state and all across this nation.
They had all but perfected peaceful protest. And this is the escalation we get immediately afterwards. It's almost like it was orchestrated. His name is Alex Jeffrey Pretti. He was 37 years old. He was a licensed nurse. He was recording ICE and defending a female protester from their aggression. Now, recording ICE, that sounds like it's checking some of the right-wing virtue boxes, right? Because don't y'all always like to talk about governmental overreach and abuse of power? That sounds like something that y'all should support. Well, you're free, by the way, to dispute the orchestrated narrative with a thorough investigation, like we didn't get with Renee Good. The Tribune also says ICE has transported several witnesses into detention. The feds are locking up witnesses to a murder. Now, I wonder why Jon Favreau would say a thing like that, because witnesses are often interrogated in order to do a thorough investigation. So why would he think they're being locked up and punished? Oh, because they put out statements already, all the way up to the president. This is the gunman's gun loaded with 2 additional full magazines and ready to go. What is all that about? Where are the local police? Why weren't they allowed to protect ICE officers? The mayor and the governor called them off. It is stated that many of these police were not allowed to do their job, that ICE had to protect themselves. Not an easy thing to do. And then goes on about Ilhan Omar and $34 million. Of course, you can never accuse him of staying on message. And there you see a photo of the gun in question. Now, let's put the Ilhan Omar and the governor and the mayor to the side for a moment, as if that doesn't take the knees out of any argument he could possibly make, because he's openly flaunting his partisanship and his agenda, as if those trumped up charges, which were investigated and later dropped, weren't enough for you to freeze childcare funds. So it was definitely beneficial to you when you mobilized all the right-wing bots to amplify it, which was the beginning of this cauldron that we now see in Minneapolis. Let's just put that to the side for a second. He posted a photo of the gun. Didn't actually grapple with the scenario in which the man lost his life. So just the gun. So does that supersede what was seen? Is that the reason why they have witnesses in detention, as if the content isn't already out and posted for all of the world to see? And since guns offend you to such a degree, I would love to get your thoughts on this. The same administration that venerates Kyle Rittenhouse, who showed up at a protest like this. That would be really helpful. That would be really helpful because apparently just owning a gun was justification enough for Trump to go into a rant that, I mean, I'm surprised he didn't bring up the Minnesota Timberwolves. That's how off message he got in his rant. That started with just the fact that he owned a gun. But it didn't end there. No, did it? We got the White House posting the same statement about the gun, as well as the Department of Homeland Security. So, MAGA, I have a question, because it's kind of giving that gun ownership in and of itself can be indicting, can be used as justification for your own death. I just want to make sure that's the world that y'all want. I want to make sure that's what y'all are, because y'all always pushing the 2A. Y'all always pushing the 2A. Even in the face of mass shootings, we get the 2A soldiers. But here, the White House, the Department of Homeland Security, and the president are using his gun ownership, not pulling it, not pointing it, not shooting it, ownership as justification. He had a permit to carry. He was legally exercising his Second Amendment right. He did not draw the weapon. He was filming when they approached him. They had taken his weapon from its holster before they shot him. It was murder. Are 6 ICE agents allowed to beat the S out of me and shoot me if I have my gun on me? Or does constitutional carry mean something? Now, where is the NRA at a time like this? That is fascinating. They just done gone missing. They just completely have ignored that gun ownership is being given as a justification for a man's death. And if you actually do feel that there is legitimate justification, you can feel free to do a proper investigation, like you didn't do with Renee Good, but the DHS, the White House, and the president done put out whole statements already. So don't sound like a thorough investigation is coming. And I would love for you guys to do the same thought experiment that I put you through after Renee Good. Can you imagine a scenario that would have happened today where Trump and Kristi Noem would have responded any other way? What would the officer have had to do for Trump and Kristi Noem to respond any other way? We've seen Renee Good, and now we've seen what happened today. What has to happen for them to not reflexively back whatever ICE decides to do? And yes, MAGAs, right wingers, the don't tread on me's, is this is really what it was all for. This is really what it was all for. The 2A people, the criminalization of gun ownership, and now just a blank check, which J.D. Vance then said himself out of his own mouth. Now, here's another thing I want you to see, MAGAs, while you take a good hard look at the world that you have enabled, because it wasn't by themselves. They did it with the benefit of a great number on the right wing. Now, I just put out a video not too long ago about how there's a wartime war chest that is available to influencers to push out ICE propaganda. And here we see it flooding out in droves from right wingers calling for the Insurrection Act. Now, here is the thing, MAGA, because I'm supposed to pretend like Trump threatening to invoke the Insurrection Act in no way is related to these kinds of escalations, is in no way related to this kind of premature defense before an investigation, even if there is one. I'm supposed to just pretend like his prior threats to invoke the Insurrection Act are not relevant here. But here's the thing that you can't pretend, as if you won't be affected by such a thing. Because as I've said many times before, the thing about enabling evil, the thing about allowing nefariousness to occur over there, it doesn't stay over there. And here's how that all looks, by the way. It's time for the Insurrection Act users location. This is exactly how they sound. Time for the Insurrection Act. The same dumbasses that say this act like they won't be affected. You were the same people crying and marching over your rights being infringed when you had to wear a mask for a few months during a pandemic. You think you can handle martial law? You know, I would love to see them try, if not for the fact that said martial law wouldn't be confined to the people who voted for it. You know, because you thought all the harm would be specifically confined to them.
Folks, what do you know? Yesterday, 15,000 people in the freezing cold in Minneapolis protesting peacefully. Nothing bad happened yesterday with peaceful protests. Today, you have ICE agents killing somebody on the streets. An American president should be standing up, calling for calm. That's not what this president ever does. In fact, he wants the temperature to go up. Why? Because what he's looking for is an excuse to invoke the Insurrection Act, to bring actual troops into American cities. By the way, he may as well have already done that, because when you've got thousands of people wearing camouflage and masks and carrying automatic weapons, walking down the streets, they did this in Chicago, and assaulting people, then, you know, they're already there. They tried to call out the National Guard. The Insurrection Act is his next move, and he's just waiting for something bad to happen on the streets beyond, with protesters doing something terrible. And that hasn't happened, thank God. The protesters have been peaceful, as they were in Chicago, but it's a hair trigger for this president.
Now, while I'm supposed to pretend like it's just a coincidence that this has all happened in blue cities and blue states, where we've seen this level of escalation and occupation, and I know that keeps you warm at night, that keeps your prices low, right, MAGA? Didn't that help you with your affordability, hurting the blue states? Right. So I just want you to imagine the world where they have decided, you know what? We're good. Let's go ahead and give them their rights back. Let's go ahead and, apropos of nothing, give them their freedoms back. You know, all the things that you guys have surrendered to hurt them. Because the thing about me not wanting this level of occupation, because it would be subject to us all, the same is true for the rights that you have surrendered and sacrificed by virtue of your silence. But you're free to prove me wrong. Thank you guys so much for watching the video. Well, what do you think?
What's up, MTV? Come on in, you broke motherfucker.
I'm in my new space. I had teased it to you guys, and here it is. You know what? I like it. It's very well lit. Hopefully, we can make the night videos not look like hostage content. And I was able to bring in a lot of the stuff you guys enjoyed from the last set. You know, I had to have Bob in here. I had to find a way to get Bob in here some kind of way. And of course, I had to have a jersey. That's going to rotate. Don't worry about that. And we might even be able to rotate this mug right here, but we got some more space around here. So, you know, I'm accepting gifts. That's a joke, but I do be accepting gifts though.
What do you mean by that?
And right here, we have an original Basquiat. I couldn't get that in the old set, but I wanted to. You can't have an original Basquiat and not have it on your set. I got that during Art All Night from a guy downtown 19th Street. His name Original. So that is an original Basquiat. He sold me that one.
Look at my chandelier. It's $2 million. It's made out of expensive chicken dinners I've eaten over the years.
But ultimately, this was a move that the success of the channel enabled. You guys made this a possibility for me to revamp my space and make it easier to produce content for you.
Yeah!
So if you hadn't had an opportunity, go ahead and subscribe to the channel, or you can join as a member right here on YouTube or at Patreon at patreon.com/ReeseWaters, where you can get the weekly newsletter. But you can also sign up for the monthly, which is free. And while we're talking about pictures, I received this one, wife Danielle and husband Steve watching Reese chilling in our RWs. Now, Danielle appears to be enjoying herself, but I don't know, Steve. It don't look like this was your choice. It don't look like, Steve, you look like you trying to get some brownie points by watching her show. And that just happens to be me. That's the energy I'm getting from Steve. But then it seems like you the one that sent me the photo. So I guess, thank you. You know I support love. You know I always support love. So even if you did it begrudgingly, I salute the gesture. Now, while we're talking about love, I'm always getting tons of emails from you guys, and I received one that really moved me from Antoinette, who reached out to me from Okinawa, Japan, on behalf of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated in preparation for their upcoming sisterhood retreat, Unapologetically Empowered Black Women. The legacy, the light, the leader. And I sent her a message for her retreat, but I thought it would be relevant to you guys as well. Do not apologize for your brilliance, your boundaries, or your blackness. You're not a version of someone else's ideal. You are the original blueprint. You're the dream that your ancestors had when they looked at the stars and dared to hope. So when you walk out of here, take up space. Not just the space you were given, take up the space you deserve. Be bold, be soft, be brilliant, and above all, be unapologetically you. And while you're taking up space, give me some suggestions for how to take up the rest of the space on this wall. You can send that to me at admin@reesewaters.com.